welcome back to another episode of the Susquehanna JT Exchange podcast, where we fill you in on that is all SU track and field. Special edition today, we're going to do our champs preview. So we got, the whole crew in here. We got Coach Weir to my left. How you doing?
Doing well. Yourself?
Good. Heuler, what's up?
Nothing much.
And Coach Show, how you doing today?
Always good over here.
That's good. So, we'll get into a quick little recap of this past weekend, and then we'll dive into champs a little bit. Entries closed today, so we really don't know exactly who's going to be in what. We have a good idea on our end, but I guess we'll find out a little bit, probably 8 or 9 o'clock tonight.
Yep.
All right, so this past weekend, we attended the Juniata tune-up. I can personally say it was arguably one of the top 5 worst weather meets that I've gone to in my career. Coach Weir was able to sit this one out because we had some recruits on Saturday. But Coach Heuler and Coach Showstead got to join me. What did you guys think of the weekend?
The weather was definitely not ideal. I'll say that. It was cold and wet.
Yes,
but
it rained a lot.
As a coach, I much preferred standing in it than competing in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
What about you, Showy?
Yeah, it was kind of like a swamp out there. Like it was definitely April track for sure.
Yeah, it was. So we knew it was going to rain, and we tried to prepare the athletes for it. Forecast was 100% chance of rain and a high of, I think it was like 55 degrees. I know we got there at a little after 8 a.m. Wasn't raining. What didn't feel too bad. And then the events were supposed to start at 9. They don't think they started till like 9:45, 10-ish. But it basically started raining at 10, and I don't think it stopped till 5 o'clock. And when I say rain, it wasn't like just it rained for a good.
I felt like Forrest Gump.
Yeah. That's a good reference. And it got cold, I was really, really proud of the athletes for how well they did compete, considering the conditions. We only took about, 35 athletes?
Yeah, I think it was around there.
Yeah, we only took about 35 athletes, a few athletes that were on the cusp of qualifying in their events. I know, like Henry, he hadn't been able to run a 400 this year.
Yeah.
And then just polishing up a couple athletes in some other events, some people coming off injuries. It took most of the throwers. I personally really wanted them to get in the circle, kind of feel, what it was like. For those that don't know, Juniata is a pretty unique place, especially for the shot put. Their shot put sector is a beach. There's, 2-3 foot of sand. And that creates a little different conditions in the actual circle itself. And also just the hammer disc circle. The last time we were there in 2022, it was pretty much brand new, so it was like glass. And I wanted our athletes to be able to experience the circle so they are ready. From a jumping standpoint, it's different because they've got, I think it's a 3 or 4 foot board. So you're really taking off over top of the sand. There's not a big run out when you're doing run-throughs. So it was important for me that they were able to kind of get an idea of the conditions and just the layout of the space. And I think we got out of it what we needed to. From a jump standpoint, we got Charles back doing some stuff. Elijah tuned up. Annie, unfortunately, she did get hurt, but, she had some decent jumps throughout the day. Throws-wise, what did we see?
We didn't see all the performances we wanted. I think a good amount of people took advantage of the extra opportunity, but for the large majority, not so much. I think for them it'll be just a little bit of a confidence boost at the end of the day for them to be like, all right, I competed in those conditions, and I did consistent with what I have been doing, but I have a feel for the circle or the runway or whatever, and they're ready to go for this weekend. Yeah,
even though I mentioned multiple times throughout the week that it was going to be cold and rainy, athletes still really didn't do a good job preparing. I think it was Bella you were telling me, was standing on the javelin runway and was just covered in shivering and covered in goosebumps. So I'm warm, Coach. No, you're not.
Yeah.
I know Elijah didn't do a great job preparing, but Coach Joe said, what highlights did you see from the throws group?
Well, definitely Chris, because he was sitting outside of champs, then PR'd by about a meter in shot put to put him like high up the list and secure his spot. So that was a huge highlight. A couple other people had some people put some stuff together for hammer, a little bit for discus. So and if nothing else, they just got to look at what the facilities are going to be like for this upcoming weekend.
Yeah, I think overall we got out of it what we needed to, especially from the throws. Long day again, though. We left at 6:30, didn't get back till 7 or whatever it is. That's April. On the track, we had quite a few distance runners still competed. I know a couple races that I remember throughout the day, like Andrew Hilk. He closed really, really well in this 15. Ended up running a huge season best. That was great to see from him. Ethan Harnish ran for the first time in a long, long time, and he ran the 5K. And the conditions for the 5K were pretty rough. I think he missed his PR by like 8 seconds, which is awesome because he really hasn't run in a long time.
Yeah.
Some sprints. I know we had like Kai and Silas and them. They made finals. Alyssa, ran the hurdles in the 2. Aiden Diglio ran a decent 200 to get him moved up the list. Henry, I mentioned, first race back. Basically, I think it's the first race outdoor.
It's his first race outdoor.
Yeah, because he had gotten hurt in the indoor championships at AARTFC. See him qualify. I know I had to reel him back a little bit. He was trying to compete a little too hard on the home stretch. I told him, just relax. Like, you only got to get in, and hopefully we'll see what happens. For women's highlight, it was probably Gabby Howe. She ran a huge PR in the 400. I think her PR prior was like 107 high, and she won 104 something.
104 something, yeah.
Riley ran well in the 8, and I'm sure I'm missing a bunch. There was a lot of things that happened throughout the day. It was a long day.
Yeah.
I can definitely tell you I was cold. And as a upstate New Yorker, Western New Yorker, I don't say that very often. It took me probably till 9 o'clock at night to finally warm up, and I did not enjoy it. But overall, Juniata was good for what we needed it to be. Tune up exactly as what it was, and that kind of leads us into this week. All year we prep. Everything we do is to get ready for the champs, and here we are. I feel like the season has flown by.
Yeah.
It's Wednesday. We're filming this Wednesday morning, so most of our work's done for the week. Lifts are done for the year for those that are ending at champs, and it's finals week.
Yeah.
School year has flown by, so it's gone really fast. But excited for this weekend. Similar song and dance as we had indoor. Men are going to be second on paper going into the day.
Yep.
Women have improved a little bit from their indoor status. It's looking like we could possibly compete for a 4th. We're in 5th currently. I think would we finish indoor 6th?
6th, yeah.
Yeah. So we're in 5th now, and in theory we could move up to 4th, which would be awesome. But let's get into, I guess, the day-by-day preview of the championship meet. The meet's going to open up with the men's hammer long. So what are you guys looking for in the men's hammers throw specifically?
I mean, they've all been really looking good in practice. So, again, just kind of be confident and just build throughout their series on Saturday would be a good start for me.
Who are you excited to see? I know you're going to give me the cookie cutter answer and say, I want to see them all throw, but who are you excited to see?
Well, like you said, everybody, but Cooper in practice has been really putting stuff together. Kieran's getting there. On the women's side, Danny, Emma.
Yeah, slow down. We'll get there. We'll get to the women.
Sorry.
The men's long jump, on paper, we have not been performing the way we should be. I'll put that on me as the jumps coach, but we've had a lot of injuries. Austin with his hamstring and Charles with his heel and just Rowan and whatever. So we've had a lot of people that usually jump that haven't really had the opportunity to jump.
Yeah.
So we're hopeful in Gabe as well. He jumped big early, kind of got hurt. So getting a lot of people back at the right time. And I just want them to get out there and compete. I think on paper we're only supposed to score 9 points or something like that. Maybe not even that in long jump. Typically we score 15 more. So I'm hopeful that, we put it together on Champs Day like we usually do. Austin's been looking really good. I'm excited. I'm actually excited to see Liam long jump. He hasn't really long jumped that often.
Yeah.
And Elijah's been looking really good. He looked great at Moravian. So all in all, hopefully those 2 events get us off to a good start. Women's pole vault, that goes off a little bit later. Kendall's been doing really well this year. Hopefully the weather conditions currently are, low 50s, but no rain. Hopefully that holds out, so we can vault. Juniata doesn't have indoor space, so if it rains, we're SOL, as they would say.
Yeah.
And then women's hammer will follow. So you already kind of mentioned, Danny and the women's hammer. What other athletes are you looking to possibly get on the podium at champs?
For women, definitely Kira. She's been doing really well in hammer. Catherine, she's been really close. Her timing just a little bit off for her 3rd turns, but if she can get her foot down, she's definitely going to be on the podium for sure.
That's great. And after women's hammer comes the men's vault. I know I was watching practice this week, and Hayden looked really, really good in practice. Christian came back for Catholic, which is great for him. I know he had a year left, and it worked out where he was able to get some jumps in. So I know, speaking with their coach, landmarks isn't really his goal. Nationals, he is a former national champion there at Catholic. So hopefully, the weather's good enough for him to maybe put up, a big mark for the conference. But, obviously, we would like our guys to win. So if he doesn't jump, I'm not going to be that upset, Steve. Just a heads up. But Hayden's been looking really good. I know Seth, he's been basically jumping at PRs almost every meet this year as well. And then hopefully Thomas and Lance can stay healthy, and maybe Max, pops a PR, and maybe all of them get on the podium. That would be really cool. And then we lead into, men's shot put, which I know those of you will find out Cole does have an injury. So hopefully, he can battle through some adversity and still get something out there. But hopefully, what other throwers do you think? I know we mentioned Chris briefly about Juniata. What about like Kieran, Cooper, Luke? What about those guys that might be able to make an impact that may be outside of scoring now, but might be able to work their way in?
Oh, yeah, I definitely think so. And, like, these guys are all kind of like gamers. Like, they show up when they need to, right? So, like, on paper, like, not really an accurate representation of what I think they can do. So we're hoping for a pretty big day from all those guys. And hopefully we'll get, like, 4 or 5 of them in that, like, top 10 at least.
Yeah,
So
that'd be great. More in the top 8, the better. But I agree. And then let's women's shot put. We're looking at, Kira's been doing well. She had a big PR this year. Bella's been doing well. The conferences, very competitive. You've got the E-Town girl and I think a Scranton girl and I don't remember who else is at
There's
the
a
top.
Moravian girl.
Yeah.
I forget Moravian in the throws. What am I doing? But yeah, so who are we excited to see out of that women's shot put group?
I mean, you named Kira and Bella. They've kind of been our 2 women that have carried our shot put for indoor and outdoor so far. But Abby Haskell is right on the border of something big. She PR'd with a 10:55 or got close to a PR, and I think she can put one together at champs.
Yeah, so that'll be the day one field events. I think across the board, I think hopeful for a lot of podiums, top 3 finishes. That's obviously the goal, but I think we're definitely been gearing up for some big PRs, and I'm excited to see what day one brings in the field. Day one running, the first events, always the 100-meter, 100 hurdles, 110 hurdles. So what do you got for us in the sprints, Coach Weir?
Yeah, so, I think when we're looking at our short sprints or our high hurdles, especially on day one, like that's going to be a very important day for us. And I think that hopefully, the events that we talked about previously, we have some good success there because I know historically on Champs Day, when one group starts off really well, everybody just kind of starts to build off of that. And then we start to see some really, really big performances and some people really step up building off of that energy. But, looking at the 100 specifically, that could be a really big event for us. We've got 6 guys that are all in scoring position. So I think, that's going to be a really exciting event to start things off on the track. Hopefully we'll get a few people into finals, hopefully a couple more than we're looking at on paper now. But I think that a lot of the guys, Nate, Aiden with his 100 at Moravian, getting Austin and Jordan back healthy now, they're starting to feel good. They're starting to run well. So, I think that group of guys that are kind of on that border right now could really have a big day. And I think, we're talk about weather a lot. I think that we generally perform well in poor weather.
Yeah, we do.
I think our kids are pretty mentally tough when it comes to that. And a lot of them are pretty experienced with not great conditions. And I think that we, overcome that adversity a little bit better than some other programs. So that's going to be really exciting to see the 100 start off. And then obviously, the high hurdles is, another pretty big event for us. We've got obviously Carter and Calder. They've been running very, very well this season, despite all of the pain and suffering I've been putting them through. But Nico's, been running very, very well across the board the last couple of weeks. So I'm really excited to see him. Hopefully he can break 15. That'd be a pretty big step for him and a really good way to start off a championship meet for him.
Yeah, I agree. We've got, and Rowan's coming back from that hamstring from the deck, and Charles is, kind of coming back from his heel. So hopeful we can get those, 5 guys, 6 guys?
Yeah, 6 guys, hopefully.
Six guys into finals
Yeah.
would be awesome. I know we've done that before. It's a little different crew than we've had in the past.
Yes.
We're a little we're a little shallower
Yeah.
in that event than we have been in years past. But I agree. I'm excited to see them. Alyssa has been running really well.
Yeah, she
in the
has.
100 hurdles.
Yeah.
I know she first stepped perfectly, or three-stepped the first 2 hurdles perfectly this past weekend. And I was like, just keep going, And
Yeah.
she just clicks back into that 4-step. But hopefully, she continues to build, and I think she's going to run really well this weekend.
I agree.
That'll lead us into the 1500s. On the men's side, Evander's going to be our lone competitor in that event. I'm thinking he's probably going to be in the slow heat, so hopefully he can, make some moves in that. If not, he's going to be like the last one into the fast heat, which would be even better. But he's been running really, really well. He kind of dropped down from the 5K to the 15 in the 8, and it's working really well for him right now. On the women's side, we've got a few more athletes. I know Sophia Bostwick, she's the main one we're looking at. Who else do we have in the 15? I can't remember off the top of my head.
Riley.
Riley, and obviously Riley. We've talked about Riley a ton this year. She's been improving in everything. I know she ran an 800 this past weekend and ran like 231-ish, and I know she hates that event, but she did really, really well in it. I think that's it for the 15, though, right? We got some people we're entering. We're not sure if they're going to get in or not. And then the 200s. Women's 200, we'll have Ashley Newman for the women. She's a senior. She's been working really hard. She's kind of bumped back and forth from the short sprints to the long sprints, and we've kind of just settled in short sprints. This is going to be your focus. And men's 200. This is a really big event for us indoor. I don't remember off the top of my head how many people scored in indoor.
I think it probably would have been 5.
5, yeah.
Maybe 4.
No, I think it was 5. But I don't remember. But, we're going to load the 200 up. Just like the 100, I think we've got a lot of people that are just outside that top 8 that we think can make finals. I know, obviously, Owen, Dom, Calder, Mason, like those guys are in. I think Nate's probably 9th.
10th.
He's 10th, and Austin's not too far out.
11th.
Aiden's been running really well. So I'm excited to see that group run in the 200, hopefully get as many people into the finals as possible. And then the last event of the evening is the 10K. They run around the dang track 25 times. You sit there, you cheer every single one of them, thinking they're crazy the whole time. But women's 10K, Allison Sponseller is going to get after it. We're excited to see her go out there and race. Be her second ever 10K, coming off the one at Bucknell where she ran. Maybe she ran another one before that. Could be wrong, but she ran awesome at Bucknell. So she qualified for regionals, and that's what it was. And then on the men's side, Derek Blair. Hopefully it's another repeat of indoor where, he went out, what was it? The 5K was the first event. He went out, won the 5K. Hopefully he can set the tone early for himself. It's a tough double outdoor with the 10K the first day and then the 5K the second day. But if anyone can do it, it's him. He's had a couple weeks off from racing. He's put in a lot of solid running, a lot of solid training. So I think he's going to be in a great shape. So after day 1, we're hopefully going to have quite a few people in the finals of the sprints and the field events, and a couple distance races set us up well. Day 2, we start off with the javelin and the triple jump. I know the javelin's been a little interesting this year. I know, Jace having a bit of an injury. What are you guys thinking with the men's javelin?
I think, especially after this week, we cleaned some stuff up. I think we're looking like we're in real good position to still put some points up. Despite that, like John's looking real good. Jace is looking good in practice. And then Troush just started to put stuff together too. So hopefully we'll be able to get 3 people.
Yeah, and I'll speak for the triple jump. We currently on paper aren't scoring any points. And I think we had 4 people that podium at indoor. We just haven't really had a chance to jump, if I'm being honest. A lot of people banged up. The weather wasn't great. Our schedule wasn't super good this year as far as being able to travel travel everybody. Hopefully we get after it in triple. I think Kyle is ready to go big. He's really been training really well. He looked, really good in practice the last couple weeks. And then hopefully, either a Liam or maybe a Carter or Gabe or somebody can, step up and maybe, steal a point or 2. That would be nice. So on paper, 0 points, anything's better than what we got right now.
Correct.
So that's really the goal. And then running will get underway at noon. We'll have the steeplechases first, where we'll see Sophia Bostwick again. She ran the steeple for her first time at Moravian a few weeks ago. You can check out her podcast a couple episodes ago, where she did really well. She's currently the leader in the conference, not by much, but she's the current leader in the conference. So we're excited to see her go. And then the men's steeple, Andrew and Joseph will take us another shot at that. Hopefully, Andrew, he's currently seated ninth. Maybe he can sneak into a scoring position. He's also only ran it one time. And then Joseph, he looked, pretty good his first time back. He's coming back from an injury, so hopefully, he can shave some time off of his qualifier as well. And then we got a bunch of stuff that gets going 12:40 and 1 o'clock. Women's 4x1, we kind of, we got a group. We're not quite sure who's going to run on that yet.
Yeah.
Waiting to see, some who's back from injuries and whatnot. Hopefully, I think they can probably run 50, sub 50-ish.
I agree. I think that with the way they've been running over the last couple of weeks, Nikai's been having really good performances. A little beat up, but she's been running very, very well. Had a big PR at Moravian in the 100. Ashley's been running probably more consistently in the 100 specifically than she has really ever. So I think that, they've got potential to break 50, and that would be really, really nice to see from that group. Get a regional qualifier out of them. That'd be really exciting for a pretty young team.
Yeah, I would agree. I know Kendall's going to be their anchor leg, and she won't have to worry about anything else, which is nice.
Yes.
The men's 4x1, we won't get into too much. Obviously, we're the reigning champions in that event.
Yep.
Our qualifying time is a second faster.
About a second, yeah.
But we're probably not going to run that A team, but we'll see. We're going to see who gets into finals in the 100. I still think whoever we put on the track is going to be very competitive.
Correct, yeah.
And then we get into the high jump. High jump's another event where we did way better than we were supposed to on paper indoor, and I honestly think that's probably going to be the same.
Yeah, I agree.
We've had Charles banged up, Rowan's banged up, Liam, did a decat. They're all beat up, and they're finally starting to feel better. So I'm hopeful. We had a really good practice yesterday. Rowan specifically looked really good. So hopefully we just come out, jump well, get the heights first, second attempt. I'll say as a whole, the landmark's probably a little bit down in the high jump as it has been in the last couple of years. But the first year from Moravian's going to show up. The first year from Catholic's going to show up. The E-Town guy, everyone's going to show up. Juniata's everyone's got somebody in the mix. So excited to kind of see that competition get going. They're the ones that kicked off the indoor meet, and they really set the tone early. So we're hoping that some of those guys that are in that men's long jump can also set that tone early and get everybody fired up and moving. Women's triple jump, like I said, unfortunately, Annie got hurt. Denise also is not going to be able to go, so we won't have anyone in that. And then women's javelin, men's disc, they go off at the same time. Which coach is going to be where? I'm curious.
I think I'm going to end up with the disc and hammer. I think Shoei's going to end up with shot and jav.
That's interesting. How did that dynamic come about?
We were switching back and forth at the beginning of the year, and then with how busy we got and the way spring track works, we ended up just kind of sticking with me by the shot, him at the shot and jav, and me at the hammer disc. Wow. But it's been working for us so far. You mentioned the men's disc. I'm really excited to see the disc competitions for both men and women. But for the men, I know Cooper has been on the brink of an absolute bomb. I think he's going to qualify for regionals this weekend, put himself in a good place there. Kieran's really close. Luke's really close. And then, of course, Cole has already qualified for regionals, but with his injury, we're not really sure what he's going to do, but I think he'll still show up and try and compete. So it'll be a really fun meet, especially with all the Moravian guys that are already mid-40s.
Yeah, the discus has blown up this year for sure. I think last few years, 42, 43 would win it, and that might not even make finals this year, which is, great for the conference. To circle back a little bit to the day before, we didn't mention it. This women's hammer throw competition could be amazing and take us out of it. I want our athletes to do really well too. But if you look at what's been going on with the Moravian girl and the Scranton girl, they've basically, each week, they've traded back and forth with who gets the record at different meets. They went head-to-head one time, and both of them kind of had bad days that day. So it's been really interesting. Right now, the Scranton girl currently, she's ahead. She finally broke the 50 barrier, so she threw over 50, which is really cool to see. So that competition could be exciting from a lot of aspects. And then in this women's discus throw, you got the E-Town girl. She's thrown over 50. What is that rank nationally? She's got to be top 3, top 5.
She actually hasn't thrown 50 yet this year.
Oh, she hasn't. She threw 49 something.
No, 49.05. So she's really close. I think last time I looked, she was sitting like third
yeah.
in the nation.
She's only a sophomore, so she's developed really well. It's been fun to watch her, grow and really just increase those championship conference records and all that stuff. It's been fun to watch. But women's javelin, we've got quite a few women's javelin throwers in the competition. Obviously, Ainsley and Bella did really well last year. What are you looking for out of the women's javelin throwers this year?
Again, just to keep building, like Brooke is someone that we've been impressed with, like with the progression that she's had so far. So I think she's sitting at number 2 currently. Like we're kind of expecting a similar position like at the actual meet. Hopefully she wins it. But Ainsley too. Ainsley's been trending upwards. We fixed some stuff technically in practice this week with her and Bella, and they've honestly been throwing bombs in practice, so I'm just kind of excited to see what happens this weekend.
Yeah, and I think even on like the lower end, some of our athletes that might not make finals have also been improving, a lot, which is great to see. And then we get through that, and it's kind of the meat and the potatoes for the track events. They really get underway with, the finals in the 100, the 110 hurdles. Again, we kind of touched on that briefly. The 400s, though, women's 400s, I don't think we're going to have anyone out there. As I mentioned, we pushed Ashley into the short sprints. But men's 400 is traditionally a good event for us as well. Mason Winslow currently is coming into the meet as the 2nd seed.
Yep.
I know the E-Town guy, he ran really, really well at York. He hasn't really run a 400, but I'm sure he's been training and it has been, working his butt off. Henry's usually up there in that top 4. I think he's 17th.
17th,
on
but paper right now.
We mentioned he ran it for the first time at Juniata. Conditions were rough, and we also I made him chill on the last 70 meters where he probably could have kept pushing, but we didn't want to risk it. And then Aiden, where is he sitting right now?
He is 7th currently.
So hopeful to get 3 people into those scoring positions. That would be great. So right now we're only at 2 and 7. That's 9 points.
Yep.
10 points.
10 points, yeah.
10 points. So if we could get more than 10 points in the 4, it's a good day.
That'd be great.
And I think we could probably get around 15. So that's the goal in the 4. Right into the 100 finals. So if Aiden makes the 100 finals, he's going to have a rough day.
Yes, he will.
But
he's ready for it.
Yeah, correct. And then I guess I skipped over. No, we talked about men's triple a little bit. 800 wise, we've got quite a few women in the men's 800, women in the men's 800. Quite a few women in the 800 meter. Gabby, Katie, Calder, she did roll her ankle, so hopefully she's going to be able to go. And then we'll see if some other people get in. But in the men's side, it's Evander. Evander has been doing a steady job of chipping away, with that 800. He hasn't really had a lot of opportunities to run it fresh. This past weekend, he had the opportunity to run it fresh, but unfortunately, one of his teammates boxed him in for the first 100 meters. So that hurt him as to getting out. So he got out a little bit slower than he probably could have. And there wasn't really many people there to push him.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to kind of see what he can throw down. He 100% is going to end up being in the slow heat. He might even be in the 3rd heat. But I'm excited to see what he can do. As I mentioned before, he's been doing really, really well with his training. Women's 400 hurdles. We got a list on that one as well. I've joked around. She loves this event. It's her favorite. What are you expecting out of her?
I mean, she's been performing pretty well. She was one that, because she was a transfer, she didn't compete for almost a year and a half. But I think things are really starting to click with her kind of across the board, whether we're looking at high hurdles or 400 hurdles. So I think she's going to go out and surprise herself. I think that with the environment of conference, that she's going to go out and run a pretty decent time for her. I wouldn't be surprised if she, goes out and runs a pretty big PR, which would be, really exciting for her ending her season.
Yeah, I'm hopeful. I know she's been working really hard, and I joke a lot, but I know she's got the potential to really lay down a good time. Men's 400 hurdles. Since this will air after entries close, the cat's out of bag. Mason is going to run both the 400 and the 400 hurdles. And if he gets into the 200 finals. So that's going to be a busy day for him.
Yes.
400 hurdles, we've talked about it on here, quite a few times, like kind of an experiment for him to kind of see what he can do. E-Town kid running really, really well. Was running really well.
Yeah.
He hasn't raced in a while, but, Mason hasn't really done the 400 hurdles in a while either. I don't know what the other kid's going to be coming off of, likely the 110s.
Yeah.
So he'll have a little bit longer of a rest after the 4, but if anyone can do that double, it's Mason.
Yeah, he's one of those guys that, he's kind of one of those dream athletes that whatever you tell him, if it's for the betterment of the team, he's going to do it. We tell him to run through a brick wall for us to win, he's going to run through that brick wall. So, he's really excited, and he's a competitor. He's going to go out and he's going to leave it on the track and do everything he can to make sure that the men can bring home another championship.
Yeah, I agree. And Carter, he hasn't raced the 4 hurdles in a little while, but, hopefully he can get into scoring position. Nico has been running awesome. So
Very well,
really,
yeah.
I'm excited to see him. I think he's really going to get after it. And Liam Messina might be able to sneak out a point. I know he ran it this weekend, had a really good start, and then kind of fell asleep in the middle third. But I think if with champs on the line, with points on the line, he tends to show up.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking he'll be close. He'll be I think he's ranked 17th right now.
15th.
So I think he's going to be flirting with that 10 to 7.
I agree.
I really do. So I'm excited to see him run. After the 4 hurdles, women's high jump, Charlotte, she had a really good practice yesterday, so hopefully she can continue, to build off of that. Women's discus, we touched on it a little bit, with the E-Town girl throwing 49 already. Our athletes have been improving in disc a lot too. Like historically, discus has been one of the worst throwing events for Susquehanna. And this year, I think we've qualified more than ever. I know we have more throwers, but we also have more athletes in the top 10, I think, than we've ever had probably before.
Yeah.
So who are we excited to see? Who are we expecting, to perform well in the discus this weekend?
Yeah, like you said, we got 9 or 10 girls in for champs for women's disc, and last year it was definitely not that many. So it's nice to see all these girls flirting with 30 and mid-30s. But I do think Becca Cree, she has a bomb in her. I think she could potentially qualify for regionals and put herself in a really good spot. I would say first, but I hope the E-Town girl breaks 50. That'll be really impressive to see. But just like Becca, I think Danny's also flirting with a bomb in disc. She's been really getting them out there in practice. She just has to put one together in a meet. So
yeah,
no time like champs.
I think it's going to be a fun day in the throws for sure. 200s, we talked about that with the prelims. Hopefully we can get, 4 guys, maybe more in the finals, which would be awesome. And then the 5Ks, a lot of these athletes are going to be coming off a double from either the 10K, the 15, maybe even the steeplechase the same day. The men, I think we got Derek. Hunter's going to be running it fresh, which will be exciting for him. And then we got a couple guys that are entered. Maybe they'll get in. We're not sure yet. Women-wise, we got quite a few women in the 5K. I know it's Sydney, Juliana, Riley. They're guaranteed in for the most part. Sophia as well.
Yep.
No, Allison's not running in the 5.
She's not.
Yeah,
no.
Allison's not going to run the 5. Did I miss anybody? Just a couple people that we might enter, see if they get in, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. See who survives. Like it's a long
Correct.
weekend for those distance runners.
Yes.
But I'm excited to see Hunter run. Like the energy that Hunter brings, not in just like practice. And like, he's always I love it. I wish everybody had the energy that Hunter had. And then 4x4s, we're gonna figure it out. On the men's side,
Yeah.
I don't know who's gonna be available anymore. Who do you think is gonna run that women's 4x4?
I think that one's a little more cut and dry for us, provided everybody's healthy. I think we're probably going to have Ashley, Nikaya, Katie, and Calder. They've been our crew the last couple times we've ran it, and they've been doing a pretty good job. All of them have been running pretty well over the last few weeks. So hopefully they're all healthy by the end of the meet, and then can go out and run a pretty decent time.
Yeah, like I said, on the men's side, we'll see who's ready, who's still standing. I know on paper we're only seated, I think, 4th anyway.
4th, yeah.
I know we're capable of running much faster than we have. We just haven't been able to run an actual A. But we'll see. Hopefully it doesn't come down to the 4x4. I know for me, it's going to be a stressful weekend. It's been a stressful week already, and it's going to continue to be a stressful weekend. And I just hope, we can pull it out. Indoor, we found a way, and hopefully our men can find a way outdoor, and our women, maybe move up to 4th. I'm not going to sit here and ask you guys what your favorite event or what you're most looking forward to, because Justin's going to tell me all of them. Right?
It's just the truth.
But it's going to be a good weekend.
Yeah.
If there's one piece of advice that we could give to our athletes quickly, what would it be going into the weekend, Coach Weir?
Prepare for everything. You don't know what the weather's going to be. You don't know what the temperatures are going to be. The more you can prepare, the more that puts you at ease that regardless of what's going to happen, you're going to be ready for it.
All right, Coach Heuler, what's some advice you would give going into champs?
Don't worry about the points. Just worry about showing up.
Good. And Coach Show?
Yep, just be in the present. You only get so many conference championships, so stay locked in, have some fun, support your teammates.
Yeah, it's going to be a good weekend. So Landmark Champs get underway Saturday, 11 a.m. No, 1 o'clock. 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock.
You'll be able to follow along on Flow Sports, or I think it's 2L Timing is going to be the timing website. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode of the JT Exchange podcast. If you do like it, please share it. Want to get the word about SU Track. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for joining me.
Absolutely.
Have a good day.